Energizers. Think of them. Consciousness has many energizers. Candy, hanky-panky, hokey-tokies, food, and the metabolisms of food, which provide direct sources of energy, and which are energizers not just of direct material sources, but have immaterial energizers to them in its flavorings and taste, but also the meaningfulness and the colorfulness it brings to us through our ingestions, primarily, and the tasting of it, but not just the tasting of it, the acquisition of it into consciousness and refining of its form into these concoctions of beauty or excellence that tend to energize us through a future orientation and a expansive direction towards what we deem to be good or positive or pleasant and enthusing as well. And what's enthusing itself is an emotional energizer, an emotional complex energizer that contains with it all these other aspects of affect and positive emotion related to these various qualities that contain in them implicit, explicit knowledge that we are aware as well as unaware of, this apparent and less apparent, less obvious, and which we need to have a more refined or a particularized interest or attentiveness to be able to apprehend and metabolize in its course towards energizing us and accessing its fuel sources that supply us with a sense of meaningfulness, but not just meaningfulness, a radiance that tends to increase various aspects of our nervous system in a direction that tends to be positive and nourishes the self, but also energizes the self and directs the self, driving the self forward in its more motivated courses of direction that pertain to all aspects of personality constituency, and primarily with our consciousness and our conscious perception and these individual differences that are linked to our psychological motivations and particularly our virtue strengths that themselves are energizers and sources of energy, often through how they make us feel and the affects associated with them, but also the meaningfulness and, most importantly, the purposefulness that is deeply embedded and connected to our individual differences and helps us to lead more of these self-actualized lives, but move across, more importantly, these self-actualization tendencies that incrementally energize us through satiating and gratifying the ego, and which are components to the self, and also, most importantly, the productive self and high-performing self and masterful self. So I hope you enjoy this video.